our DE. Vicky is our DEI.
I'm the token.
She's our token DEI. So there you go. Well, I'm DEI because
I'll tell you what, it makes a nice change to not be the DEI myself, then, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. Yes. Oh, you mean I'm not the one today? Oh.
That's right. We have Vicky. We purposely have Vicky on several shows, so we do our DEI part. That's how we do it. It's just like there you go. We're very we don't do the woke crap. We're very DEI.
Excellent,
it's like we have Vicky on the show. She's the whatchamacallit.
Right. So you're fulfilling the quota, but does that mean that you're going to get banned by the new administration?
Well, let's see.
No, they don't.
I think that ship had sailed a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't have to worry about.
Let's start the show, guys, and then we can talk about it.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Oh, look at us. We're here, boys and girls. We're live.
We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, I'm taking a bit of a risk today because I've been in East German mode the last couple of shows I've been doing. So
right. What does that mean exactly? Define what that means.
He's been wearing a little hat and a little jacket that makes him look like a East German guy from 1950s because he's waiting for Russia to roll the tanks and do. Where are you? Amsterdam, Holland, wherever the hell he is.
Rotterdam. They'll just, they'll come down the wonderful road that a certain Mr. Hilter built in the 1930s. He built one road that came right down into Holland and down to the Rotterdam.
So
this year they're already talking here in the UK about how they're going to be celebrating the 80th anniversary of VE Day in Europe, Victory Day.
Yeah.
So
with the invasion of Russia.
Well, I mean, when you look at the whole situation with what's going on right now, and you can't help but think back to history and how it feels a lot like history is repeating. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're going to be remembering what happened 80 years ago. Are we going to be learning from what happened 80 years ago? So
no, just be a bank holiday, wouldn't it?
Just be a holiday. Watch a few airplanes fly past and et cetera, and go, hey, wave some flags. We'll
make sure though that the airplanes flying past are at least your airplanes.
Well,
not Russian airplanes and German air. I'm just saying it's getting a little interesting. The world the way it is right now.
It is a bit crazy, that's for sure. It is a bit crazy. I don't even know where to start with all of that. I mean, we should just stick with cars. I don't know. I just stick with cars.
You stick with kind of like I don't know. Well, talking about that, we're going to plug. You have a new book.
I do. It's here.
Oh, really? I didn't get my autographed copy yet.
This is how new it is. This is how new it is that I don't even actually have a print copy. I have the proof copy. That's all I've got.
Oh wow, very nice.
So this is the not for resale proof copy.
Okay, we're gonna give. There you go. There's your new book. Everybody, there's his book. If you want to learn how to be a automotive content creator,
there you go. Hide that.
Hide the proof copy. There you go. You could do that. But you know what we've got for you, because we are a show. We're on top of things like yesterday. So here's what we've got for you.
Do you love cars? Want to get paid to talk about them? This amazing new book will show you exactly how to be an automotive content creator, journalist, and influencer is the ultimate guide to turning your passion for cars into a career. Whether you want to test the latest supercars, attend exclusive events, or build your own thriving platform, this book is your companion guide. Packed with 35 years of insider experience, this book will show you how to get cars for reviews, how to land a job in motoring media, how to grow your audience and go viral, how to turn your passion into a full-time career. Available now on Amazon. Get your copy today.
That is cool. I didn't know
Isaac accent. What accent was that?
Yeah, really. I didn't know Isaac Hayes was still alive.
I was going to say, it was Isaac Hayes until the end, and it was Amazon. I'm like, what? Oh, what happened?
Yeah. Amazon. There's another guy called Amazon Hayes, I think. That's the guy.
Suffice to say, it wasn't me.
I couldn't tell. Just to let you know, I thought it was you the whole time. I'm thinking, I like what you've done with your
That
voice.
is so close.
I know. I can do some voices, but not quite that one. No, that voice came out of AI, so I'm not quite sure whose voice that was or
Okay.
who it was modeled on. But it's an AI voice. But hey, what the heck, But yeah, I mean, seven
Still loved it.
7 months to produce my latest book, but as I say, 35 years to actually produce it, because it's 35 years of working in the automotive industry. And automotive media industry precisely, with all of the experience and all of the ups and downs of that, all of that basically I've poured into that book. As somebody said, it's the book that I wish I would have got when I first started out, and I would have said the same thing. It's like, yeah, if somebody had handed me that, it would have made things a lot more easier. But there you go. I've made all the mistakes, so you don't have to.
Very nice. So if somebody wants to be a YouTube sensation, whether it's automotive or even just what we do.
Yeah.
So David, you know what? We may even read that book. Well,
it's great, isn't it? Because he's sort of writing a book to make himself redundant. I mean, that's.
I know.
People are just going to elbow him out of the way now. Brown guy, who?
Yeah.
No,
but I've got a book, mate. I've got a book. I don't need you.
But the thing is, I generally have always been like that. Like, I've always tried to help anybody. Like, a lot of people will send people messages or ask for advice, but I'm that person that normally tries to respond whenever I can, and give whatever advice I've got or experience I've got or any thoughts I have. I've always done that. So I'm like, well, why not just put it all into a book?
Of course, experiences of the past, experiences of the past are no guarantee for the future.
No, that's true. That's true, and we that is covered in the book as well, because the point is that several times I've said, I started the book right at the beginning saying that everything you read in this book, I'm going to contradict myself throughout the book. That's inevitably going to happen. Right. But all the stuff, there's an entire section on how to write a car review, for example. And I break it down.
You should be a Trump speechwriter instead.
I was just going to say, are you writing for Trump? Because he contradicts himself, like at the State of the Union. He just kept the whole way through. And it's every other word. Vicky wants that she's going to explode in a second.
That's a different type of contradiction. But no, I mean, in terms of, for example, like I break down how to do a car review, so the structure and what you should cover, how you should do it, and then I get to the end of that, and then I say, right, ignore all of the above. Because at the end of the day, the point is that your content is created by you, and your content should reflect you and your personality and your authenticity. What we give you is a set of rules, a set of guidelines, something to learn to understand. But the reality is the best content creators are the ones that will take those rules and turn them on their head and adapt them to what they want to do and how they want to do it, because that's what's going to make people stand out. If you do everything by a textbook, you're not going to stand out. The textbook is there to help you understand how things work, but the textbook is not there to help you make your content, because you have to make your content. So I think
congratulations on selling us the book. That's all I can say.
I know. That's like, don't buy the book. It won't teach you anything. No, no.
At least you got a wonky table. You can always put it under one leg of the table. Too, right?
So I always say that you got to know the rules to be able to break the rules. This is what I always say.
But what you just said is very true. If you think about it, we were told everything that we do on our channel, you shouldn't do. You'll never go anywhere. 103,000 people later. Apparently, well, you got a silver plaque behind you.
You got a plaque behind. David's got the plaque on the wall behind him very proudly. So it's, absolutely, I want to get one here. No, here.
And here's the other thing, which I will say about Brown Car Guy. So anybody that wants to be an automotive guy, what he did is he came on our first show and we said, hey, we should do something monthly after the first interview. And his car reviews, sometimes he gives us car reviews and we put them on our channel. And sometimes they do better or worse than on his channel. So we cross promoting with other YouTubers is also very good.
I mean, this is the new world of digital media, isn't it? It's collaboration, it's cooperation. See, when I first started out, I mean, I was on a newspaper. There were two major English newspapers. There were only two English newspapers in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, in 1989 when I started out. And I worked on both of them. I started out on Saudi Gazette, and there was Arab News. And the level of rivalry, you couldn't believe. I mean, I remember seeing the editors throwing massive tantrums because the other newspaper had caught an headline before they had, and it was on their front page, and the editor was furious. And back in the day, like right now, you're like, so what? It doesn't matter. But back in the day, you could understand it because there was no internet. There was no online news or anything like that. The only way you got your news was through things like newspapers. And so for newspapers, it was vital to win that customer, to win that reader. This newspaper or that one. Literally, it was cutthroat. It's like, if I don't get this headline, everybody's going to buy that one, and I've lost out. That's how it used to be. But in this modern world, that's not the case anymore. First of all, newspapers are redundant, but in terms of online content, there's so much cross-pollination and so much cross-sharing that nobody really cares about, oh, only read it doesn't really matter, because if you read that and you want more information, then you're going to click through and click through and click through, and you're going to end up consuming everything,
So you go down the rabbit hole.
You go down the rabbit hole,
awesome.
literally.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations on writing your third book. We're all looking forward to reading it. And I just finished a book, and next week I'm going to read another one. So I'm very excited about that. So, but I'm here till Thursday. Tip your wait staff. And then there we'll go. So listen, let's talk about fun stuff. What people are tuning in for, really, this the title of the show, we put Sermon from the German, because your BMW, whether you still have it or not, we'll discuss later.
Gone. It's gone.
It's gone. Okay. We have Trump, cars, and the state of the world. So did anybody other than me watch the State of the Union address? That's what
I watched it.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Did you see the guy from Texas that got thrown out? The Democrat that challenged Trump? When the Republicans did it to Biden and Obama, the Democrats, they had balls. They're like, all right, let's get it off your chest, and I'm going to continue. When the Democrats did it to the Republicans, those Republicans are just bullies and pussies, because they're like, get rid of him, get him out of here. And I'm thinking, you guys have a lot of rhetoric, and you beat up on the poor little guy from the Ukraine.
I didn't see the State of Union thing, because who's going to, first of all, here in the UK, we don't care. And secondly, who's going to sit through an hour and something?
Oh, no,
it
was 100 minutes.
I watched it over
100 minutes.
Yes.
I watched it over breakfast. I cut the first bit off, and then when he got up to do his thing, I thought, this I've got to hear.
No, I don't. Nobody wants to see the big orange claim that he's the new emperor of the world. It doesn't. Nobody wants to see that. But what we did see, and what I watched, and I watched it live as it was happening, because I was working, and I've always got the news on, and I saw, and I didn't have the sound on, but I saw Zelensky, and I saw this thing, and I saw them sitting there, and it was just Zelensky's body language that I noticed, and I picked up the remote, and I was like, what is this? What's going on? And I turned it up. And I've never seen something more horrifying and shocking on that level of political stage in my life. I was absolutely flabbergasted. And then when you watched it back, and of course the news they just reran it, and then you see how it started. And you had a pincer movement where him and his right-hand lackey, they've ganged up on the guy. Seriously, I mean, it was unbelievable. And a lot of people say that it was planned, and you kind of feel that it was, because the way that they ganged up on him, and they completely caught him off guard. And the only thing that you could take away from that was undying respect for Zelensky for actually being that guy that stood up and said, no, hang on, I'm not taking this shit. Oops, sorry, shouldn't be swearing, I'm fasting. But he's like, but that's all you got from it. And it's just like, it started off with this ridiculous thing about his clothes.
Yep.
Which, if anybody's been watching the news for the last 3 years, you will have noticed that he hasn't worn a suit since his country was invaded at all. That's almost a political statement that he's making, which is fair enough. So to pick up on that, and then to talk about, oh, you haven't thanked us, and but you came here and you campaigned for the other side. I mean, the crass vulgarity of what was happening was absolutely shocking on a personal level, and on a global level, it was terrifying that politics at that level had declined to such playground bullying. Was just unbelievable.
Well, two things, and then I want to ask Vicky a question. One, the reporter that says, why aren't you wearing a suit? If I was Zelensky, I would have like, fuck you. I'm trying to save my country. And then I would have bitch slapped him because he's a pussy. Second of all, Zelensky has thanked the United States. I read an article 32 or 33 times, whether it's publicly or privately. So, and he should have just said, listen, why don't you just go suck Vlad's cock? That's literally what he just should have said, because, go suck daddy's cock. Because there was an article, and we talked about this. I don't know if it's true, don't care. It's on the internet. It's kind of like Obama's birth certificate, that Trump was a Russian mole since 1987, right? He was recruited. So let's say that's true. So if that's true, everything he's doing is that. But I was talking to someone that Saturday. I was having cigars and scotch somewhere, and we were just discussing, and they go, blah, 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 blah. And it's great to be an American. And I said, it was until yesterday. And they were like, what do you mean? And I said, did you see the press conference? And they were like, kinda. And I was like, I was very embarrassed to say that I'm an American, and that those people are the people that represent me, including Marco Rubio, who in 2017 was standing up for the Ukraine and Zelensky and whatever. I watched a video of his Senate speech, and he just sat there, and you could see him every time Trump opened his mouth, he kept sinking like lower and lower into the couch. Like,
he was doing that Homer Simpson meme where he disappears into the bush. Right?
He was hoping to just, and you could, and I'm just like, and then yesterday, the U.S. stopped giving them satellite, intelligence information. So listen, I don't know if Trump's really was recruited from Russia in 87, but everything he's doing certainly acts like he was recruited from Russia in 87. The things that you were doing when he told Zelensky, you're going to cause World War III, no, orange man, you're going to cause World War III. And Zelensky is not going to lay down because he's got balls. He's like a real New Yorker, like, whatever.
Well, the trouble is that you say that, but the latest stuff that's coming out is that essentially he is capitulating.
No, he's going to do the mineral deal. He'll do the mineral deal, but that's
it.
The
mineral deal, but he sold his country out for the next 50 years, basically. I mean, Ukraine basically is owned by America, for however long.
He was going to offer the deal to Biden.
Yeah.
Because it was already ready to rock and roll, but then he said, "No, I'll tell you what, I'll hold it back in case Trump gets in, and then I'll gift it to him." So
But the point is that what's been happening since then is very interesting, because obviously there's been this global diplomatic effort that's been going on, particularly with our Prime Minister Keir Starmer and President Macron as well. And they essentially, I think, you watch Zelensky and the statement that he's giving and stuff like that, and you see that he has been, while public everybody is supporting him and standing by him, but you can see that privately they're all saying, dude, you have to go and make up with this guy. You have to, because it's the only thing you can do. And unfortunately, when you look at the New World Order and you look at how things are, it's really sad to say that bullying is working. That this kind of inordinate amount of power that the White House currently wields and is using, not for good necessarily, but for the entire personal agenda of the Big Orange. It's just extraordinary, and
I have to slightly disagree with
news for the world.
Slightly disagree with you on that, because America is an imperialist nation. They've been doing it the whole history. They've been conquering places and being Americans and turning everything into America. And now, because it's where it's social media and it's sort of people waking up to that fact. But now America's not doing anything that they never did before. I mean, they went around the whole world. Said, well, you're interested. You've got oil. You've got something worth stealing. We'll have some of that. We'll have some of that.
We don't call it steal. First of all, we don't call it. Yeah, that's right. So the Brits, we learned from you. Second of all, we don't call it steal.
Hey, I'm not talking about the Brits, because the Brits.
We like to call it borrowing. We're just going to borrow your minerals and your land and your people. And slavery, don't worry about it. We're good. So Vicky, what do you think of all this? Because we need a woman's perspective. That's why you're our DIE hire. So
what do I think about what?
Anything we just discussed. Pick it and go. Because you always give us a different perspective. Yeah.
I don't have a female perspective on it, other than it's awful and disgusting and frightening, and I just want to crawl in a hole and pretend that he doesn't exist. The thing is, I'm really pissed off about is that COVID had a chance to kill him. COVID had one job, and it fucked it all up. We would not be here if COVID would have done his job. No.
That's too funny.
Still
but do you think
there would have been somebody else from the right wing? Because he's
maybe they agreed. I don't, he's like.
But why is everybody surprised about Trump? He's been doing this for 40 years. He's just he hasn't changed.
No, I think the surprise is that that people actually put him into that position where he could do this. Because we should have learned from last time. I remember it was the same last time. It was like every morning you'd wake up and you'd be like, okay, what headline is out today? What's happened today? What's he announced today? And it's the same now. Every day it's different.
Yeah, it's that saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and the more absolute power he has, the more the orange dome just like feeds on its own evil. I think he is worse. I think he's believing his own shit now, and it's like frightening. Before it was kind of like a joke where he's like, hey, look what I can make these monkeys do, and now it's like, I am the supreme Cheeto. Like it's become, it's ramped up, I think, somehow.
You know, one of the things
I learned. The Saturday Night Live thing was pretty funny with Zelensky. Did you guys see that? Where they had they did the interview.
Oh, was that the one where
Elon Musk?
Yeah, I did see that. That was quite funny, actually. He does a pretty good Elon Musk, let's be honest.
At the end of the show, he wore a T-shirt that said "Canada's not for sale" or something like that on it.
That was funny.
Let's go back, roll back a bit then to the State of the Union, because one of the things that stuck out to me is he wants to pass a new bill ASAP to stop all this media, all the fake, so what he calls fake media. Fake AI stuff. He said because he's become a real victim of it. And so
that video
but hang on, he's the one that shared the Trump Gaza video. You know, he's the one that shared it on his own channel.
Yeah, I know. But this is he sees an opportunity now. This is the thin end of a very big wedge. He sees the opportunity now to say, okay, well, look, you're being disrespectful towards me. I'm making America great again. We don't want any of this stuff. So let's just very quickly amend the media laws to stop all this stuff from happening. And that has so many echoes of the past, going back to the Russian Revolution, and then of course back to the 20s and 30s in Germany.
He's got the dictator playbook, and he's going through it. That's what he's doing, one by one. He's doing everything. I'm going to rename stuff. He's going to be building statues of himself soon. They're going to be going up. That was in the Trump Gaza video. I'm going to take Greenland because hey, we need it. I'm like,
what? You said that during the State of the Union.
He said that was the only thing I saw on the news. They were like, he just said,
he was very kind about Greenland, wasn't he? He said, like, you guys, like, you can choose yourself. You're welcome.
I'll just take you.
And then after that, he said, well, if not, we just take you.
Basically.
I mean that all of these things are completely and the thing is, we need to see how these things are going to play out, because this is where the proof of the pudding, so to speak. If I just go back to the car industry, because that's the one thing that I do know about. The whole idea of the tariffs is to protect the American car industry, right? But what's happening right now is that the car industry globally is imploding. And the legacy car manufacturers are in deep trouble. In America, Dodge is reckoning they're going to be suffering because of the tariffs that are going to be put on steel, and then Stellantis are going to be in trouble. Ford are in big trouble. They're talking about $6,000 to $7,000 premiums on their cars, probably even more on the last man standing muscle car, the Ford Mustang V8, which for the first time last month was actually overtaken in sales by its fatter, wider EV sibling, the Mach-E. It was actually overtaken. But the big problem they have with the Mustang V8 is that the V8 Coyote engine is actually made in Canada. So it's made in Canada. So like that's going to add a premium to it. All of the components.
But he's extended this, hasn't he? This morning, he's extended
30 days.
it.
It's extended, but 30 days. But 30 days is nothing in the car industry. 30 days is a blip. It's nothing. For General Motors, half of their components come from South Korea because they have a massive subsidy in South Korea.
Because North Korea won't send them anything.
Subsidiary, sorry. And and so the idea that in 30 days you can move production. I mean, Honda, for example, have just said, okay, all right, fine. We're going to move production of the next Civic hybrid from Mexico, where it was planned, to America. Oh, when are you going to do that? In the next 30 days? No, 2028. Because it's not that easy to just pick these things up and move them. The way the car industry works, it takes years and then billions in investment to set up the infrastructure, the plants, the supply chains, and all the rest of it. What's going to happen ultimately is that the fastest growing companies last year, BYD, every company registered a minus last year, almost all the legacy car manufacturers. BYD increased by 40%, Chery increased by 20%, Chery increased by 38%, Geely by 20%. The Chinese big three are coming and they're taking over. So the whole idea of the tariffs protecting the American car industry from China is going to backfire, because China is the one that's going to benefit from all of this.
And even Li, that company's sales are up too. And they make a beautiful car that's going to compete with, if you will, the BMWs, Rolls Royces. Teslas are shit. Like people, there's an article yesterday I read, and then I saw the news. I found in Michigan, I actually found the news report from a real news station. People are dropping off their leased Teslas in this, like, I want to say salvage yard. Their leases are done. They're at it. They don't want a Tesla. They're buying another Nobody wants Teslas. Last count, there was like 250 of them in the salvage yard.
Yeah.
And the people at Tesla are like, we don't know it. Like nobody's Tesla sales are down like 40 or 50%. Their stock is down.
Globally,
the whole thing. Yeah, globally.
60% in Europe. The shares have plummeted. They are discounting $6,000 to $10,000 on Tesla Cybertrucks because nobody wants
crap.
them.
You can't give them away.
Yeah,
they tried to give Vicky one for free, and she said no. So Vicky's like, no.
I drove by the plant out towards Taylor the other day, and you can see thousands of these, the trucks and everything is just parked in these big lots, just waiting for the trains to come get them. And there's no trains coming to get them. They're just
well, the plant near Austin, when you go to the airport, in the beginning, there were tons of Cybertrucks there. So you could literally see it from the highway. And so we would joke about it on air. And a couple months later, I noticed that there's no Cybertrucks there. There's nothing there. And now they moved it all to Taylor because Taylor's further up the way. So you can't see
People can't see it from the road.
They're still there. So, so Elon's having some problems.
In Europe, a lot of people are having their Teslas customized because, I mean, I've seen quite a few of them drive around here with rather large penises painted on the side.
Cybertruck too. There's a short.
That's the way to go.
There's a short somebody sent me about the Cybertruck, and it says, "Please stop throwing eggs at me. Please stop doing it." Like it's hysterical. And it says, I bought this before Elon became a dictator.
Crazy.
It's all this thing. He has this whole back of his Cybertruck LED lights. Yeah. It is a funny 30-second, like he stops at every light and he just plays it. And someone recorded it, and a buddy of mine sent it to me, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, "Oh, that's hysterical! Like, please don't beat my Cybertruck up. It's not its fault. I mean, and he goes, and I know it's crap, but I wanted to get one. I mean, he really, whoever came up with it is spot on.
Send that to me. I'll post it. But anyway, you don't need to beat up the Cybertruck because it'll probably fall apart by the next.
I was
going to say.
I think it's really important historically that we're talking about all these films because tomorrow morning they're all going to be banned. And so, there'll be some sort of black market in Trump memes and Trump AI movies.
I'll say something for the Supreme Court, even though most of them to Donnie. Yesterday they passed a decision that he couldn't give. There's $2 billion in aid and research that the Supreme Court said no, you can't cut that. It was 5-4. But the Supreme Court actually had the balls to say no. So there's still a right and wrong, and the right and wrong are mostly from judges. Like if you look at everything that he tries to do, judges are like, no, you can't. And it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat or whatever. They're like, no. Mm-hmm. So the courts are saying no to him a lot. So this free speech thing, like you can't do a meme, that's technically free speech, Donnie, because people get memes all the time. So if you're going to block free speech, then you are Hitler. And then you're no different than, if you will, the king of Thailand, where you can't speak bad about the king of Thailand. You're no bigger than, Xi. If you say something nasty in China, they take you up back, shoot you, and then bill the family the 38 cents for the bullet. You're no better than Putin. You're going to be no better than any of these countries where if you say something, you go to jail or worse.
So tell me this, because we are a little bit isolated by how people are sort of taking all of this in America itself. But
Is it
divided 50-50? I mean, what was the reaction to the whole Zelensky thing in America? Like here, there was total outrage by everybody, but what was it like over there?
Vicky?
Oh, me?
Well, you're the only Vicky we have.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to answer, Stephen. I think it's, it's interesting. I think it's pretty much as you'd expect it to be. The people that voted for Biden or that aren't insane were outraged by it, and the people that voted for Trump are still supporting Trump. I mean, I see a lot of people online saying, "Oh, I can't wait till these maggots find out that they screwed up and they're going to be, hurting, and he's the one that's doing it to him." They don't get it. They don't. Right. They still say. I just saw something on NBC the other day where they were interviewing a bunch of people that had been negatively impacted by his policies, and they said, well, it's too early yet to decide, and we have to give him time. We have to trust the process, and it's blah 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 blah. And I don't want to regret my vote, so I'm gonna, he's doing what he said he was gonna do, and he's keeping his promises. I'm just like, these people are never gonna. The fact that they voted for them in the first place means they don't have the mental capacity to have a light bulb moment and go, oh, I screwed up. They don't, it's never going to get there. You just have to kind of abandon them as lost and try and get the other people who sat on the sidelines to kind of wake up and go, hey, we need to get our shit together and help out.
Do you think it's going to come home to them at any point? So, for example, I'm assuming that most of the auto workers would have voted for him. The car industry workers or people, but when those factories start closing down and those companies start closing, do you think that at that point they're going to go, yeah, maybe that wasn't?
He's preempted that, hasn't he? Because he said also in the State of the Union, he said it before. Oh, it's a little bit of pain, short-term pain for a long-term gain. So it's so
or it's China's fault, or it's someone
else's
fault,
it's somebody's fault. It's somebody's
But you can't keep blaming. It's like the joke that we told, and I'll just repeat it very quickly. It's like when the Russian premier was leaving office and the new premier came in, he gave him 2 letters. And he says, when you're in deep shit, you open these letters, and one's number 1 and one has number 2. So 5 years into his term, he's in deep shit. He opens up the letter and it says, blame me. Good idea, right? A couple of years later, he's in deep shit again. He opens up the second letter and it says, start writing 2 letters. So if you will, Trump, for the next 4 years, can't blame Biden. He can't blame Bush. He can't blame Obama. Like, Biden left you with a very strong economy. I mean, truth be told, right? Everything. So
even for Trump 1, he came into a
strong, right? But that's my point. So if so this little bit of pain, if there's sunlight at the end of the tunnel, that's great. But I don't think there is. And I think what these people don't realize is that, and we keep saying this, and no one reads a history book, it's 1930s. And in Germany in the 30s, when Hitler took power, people were like, oh, yeah, Germany, because they got tired of getting kicked around after World War I. It was like, yeah, great, bah, 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 bah. And, it was like, oh, we're going to go to war. We're going to make our country better. And then, when it didn't work out the right way, then they're like, this probably wasn't a good idea. I'm hoping that whether you voted for Trump or you didn't vote or you did whatever you did, that somewhere along the line, people are like, this maybe is not the best idea. Now, there's been Republican strategists on Bloomberg, and they've said, listen, it's been for whatever amount of days, but even a couple of them have said, it's not like this. We would prefer this over this. He said privately, a lot of Republicans are like, they're a little worried about this. They're more worried because the midterm elections are next year, or maybe this year. I don't know. And a lot of them are afraid that they are not going to have jobs anymore because a Democrat, anybody, an independent can win. Because they're going to be like, I disagree. This guy's an idiot. Boom, boom. I want to be your senator or your congressman. People are like, oh, you're not Republican. Yeah, sure. So, a lot of these people are starting to stand up and speak, like the guy from Texas, Al Green. I applaud him. I would love for him to come on the show. I thought what he did, everybody the commentary was it wasn't right. You shouldn't do that. No, protest comes in many forms. And if that's how you're going to protest because your constituents are worried about their Social Security or their Medicare or their Medicaid or whatever it might be, you know what? God bless you, buddy. You get up there and wave your cane. This guy's 70 years old. You're afraid he's going to go beat the president with a cane? He's going to have to walk 30 meters through 300 people, 900 Secret Service people, and Vance was like, get him out. You, Mr. Vance, are a pussy. Because when you guys did it to Biden, like I said, and you did it to Obama, they let your people mouth off Marjorie Taylor Greene, blah, 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 blah. And when she was done, they continued their speech. So the fact that a 79-year-old guy with a cane scares the Republicans just tells that they're bullies and you can beat them down. And I think the midterms are going to be where a lot of that happens. And a lot of Republican strategists that go on Bloomberg, maybe not the other stuff, because nobody watches Bloomberg, I guess, unless you're into finance, tell you that privately, a lot of Republicans are a little nervous about this. Not so much what he's doing. I think they're nervous about that, but they're all worried about, will I have a job when I have to get reelected? So
I
for
can
them, the
understand that.
short-term pain is
I mean,
about
at the
a
end
week.
of the day, I mean, there are assumedly there are smart people there, and they can see the world as what it is, and they can see that this is not the right way to do it. But obviously, nobody's speaking up at this time, apart from the guy with the cane, which, by the way, was a very nice cane.
I liked it.
I wouldn't mess up that cane with the blood of the big orange. That's for sure. Or that's.
But my point is, he wasn't
guys seen
It probably looks like Tang.
Have you guys seen the parliament in Slovakia? Have you seen them?
That was recent, wasn't it? When they had the smoke bombs and stuff.
That's democracy in action. That is.
Oh, where they all fight each other. It's like the Philippine one where they all get into fist fights on the floor.
The thing is, again, if they can invite a world leader,
come on! I mean, you looked at it. You got all these people clapping away like some seal that's going to get a free fish, and on the other side, you got all these people.
Right now, sitting there.
We're Democrats, and we're not going to,
Listen, some of the stuff he said is good. I mean, like I said, and I've said this since last year.
Wash your mouth out with soap.
I'm okay with some of the stuff. I'm okay with some of the stuff that he says, and even some of the stuff they want to do. But you have to go A through Z. All they do is go A, B, C, D, and they stop. And it's sort of like, okay,
it's Zelensky, isn't it? He doesn't want to go that far.
Yeah. But my point is right. But my point is like, if you want to cut government waste, I'm all for cutting government waste, getting rid of the consultants. But if you want to fight fraud in healthcare, like the Medicaid and Medicare, you want to cut from 80-year-old people, and those are the ones you have to worry about because they don't give a shit if they're going to die when they storm the Capitol. But if you want to get rid of the fraud in healthcare,
the geriatric rampage.
But if you want to get rid of that fraud, you need to go to that. Yeah, a lot of them are in better shape. But if you want to get rid of that fraud,
guns, imagine that.
Yeah, but you want to get rid of that fraud, you have to go to hospitals. You have to go to the doctors. Why are you penalizing the people? We're not committing the fraud.
Because they're the ones that paid for the lobbyists of those groups. The lobbyists run this country. Right. That's the whole problem.
But that's my point. Until the American people go, fuck you, hospitals.
This is the thing. This is the great.
Are we talking about normal Americans or the 200-year-old Americans?
It's happening not just in America, but anywhere in the world where they go, right, these rich people, we should put them in power because they'll look after us. It's like, what part of you don't understand that they are rich people?
Right.
The only thing that they look after is them and their money. That's
right.
how they became
That's how they got there.
That's how they got there. It's like, why do you think they would give a damn about you got lifelong career politicians. You got lifelong career politicians who have got into what they're doing because they wanted to serve. They wanted to help. These people, they didn't do what they did because they wanted to help. Right. Even when they get into power, they're like, I want to turn Gaza into Vegas. It's like, what are you talking? You're not helping anybody. This is not helping people.
But there's a whole lot of people who understand the logic of that. It looks like a car park with a whole load of rubble. So we just get some, we just get a couple of bulldozers in, and we'll flatten it all out. And then just start again. I mean, there's a lot of people who can see the logic of it.
That people like Trump and Elon Musk, and they're all there to look after you, the little person. Right. If they were there to look after you, the little person, they'd give their billions to you. That's what they would do. That's not how this works. But instead, all they're doing is they're trying to get their bill. Yeah, exactly. This is not the first time in the last couple of weeks I've been accused of that. But you know what? I mean,
Yeah, I read it in your book.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Yeah.
Chapter 1.
It's not communism. It's Trekonomics. That's what it is.
There you go. Trekonomics. Star Trek. There you go.
Trekonomics.
Him and Vicky are going to be.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you say that in Holland, that means something completely different. Trekonomics, because to trek is to masturbate. So Trekonomics is the way to go.
You know what? It's fine as long as you're having fun. It's okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Trekonomics. Well, wait. I guess later today there'll be some Trekonomics going on. Anyway, but you know what? Yesterday with Hamas, he said, "I gave Israel everything they need to wipe you out if you don't release the hostages and do peace." So in a way, I'm like, that's a good thing. in another way, I'm like, Netanyahu
Only
takes
the
that to mean
Americans he
nuke it.
wants. He's talking to him. He's only talking to him about the
Listen,
Americans.
I don't know if you get this yet. And Vicky's an American. The last time we checked, we have to see her birth certificate. But
I
we're
think she's
funny
South
like
Korean
that.
now, aren't you?
Thought you were
Yeah,
Korean.
South Korean. Right? She's leaving to South Korea soon. But
Now
I
she's
think
married to the missile boy. I mean,
It's,
come
yeah,
on.
it's like during Brexit. A lot of British people were looking to get other passports. I think like a lot of Americans are like, no, I'm not really American. No, actually, I'm South Korean. You know, so
do you know
whatever.
that there was an article a couple of days ago in the Financial Times that said that British passports from Americans are up like 10,000%,
No
like
way.
6,700
Really?
people, because they're all like, I can invest here and become a citizen. Okay, I like a lot of them are like hedging their bets elsewhere in the world because no one knows how this is going to play. And it's
That's all we need in Blighty. More bloody Americans coming up.
I know, right? But we all
I
speak
tried
the
to get
same
my
language.
Polish one back, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be there either because that's probably not a good place to be at this
tanks
point.
are going to roll quicker there too. So just to let you know,
Exactly.
you guys acquiesced it in like what was it 29 or something when the tanks came. You're like, hi, oh look, there's a tank. That's not nice. So not really good. So it's getting the world is so crazy that like we joked before the show, what do you want to talk about? And the joke between all of us was, well, we just talk about what's going on. You don't even need a subject. It's that ridiculous.
Trekonomics, I think, is what we were going to talk about.
Trekonomics, yes, apparently. And we'll be talking about Trekonomics. That's a whole nother show.
Is that trickle down?
That's a trickle
Well,
down.
only afterwards, Vic. That's the only thing.
Good.
God, I hate being on this show with you guys. You forgot the worst of me. Not you, Shazad. The other two.
Yeah, well, that's my fault. Basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Hey,
it's not,
I'm fasting, so
this is
I'm
an international show, guys. I just wanted to explain that if you start saying things like Trekonomics, it's like it means different things in different languages.
I see that. Yeah.
You mean like the Mitsubishi Pajero? Don't ask the Spanish what that means.
or the Rabobank, which actually Rabo, I think in Brazilian means ass. So you've got
or the Cordoba, the Corinthian leather. Corinthian meaning ass in I think Portuguese. Remember that? That was a great flood back in the day.
That was Khan. Was it Ricardo? What's his name?
Ricardo Montalban from Fantasyland was like the Corinthian leather.
Fine Corinthian leather. And then years later they were like, no, there's no such thing actually. It's fine Corinthian.
And then some word, and the other word meant butt or tuchus in like whatever Portuguese, and the Brazilians were like, we can't sell the Cordoba because that means ass. We can't look at the ass. What are you driving? I'm driving an ass. Congratulations.
But we have special leather here in Holland, because everybody's super trendy and green. So we have vegan leather.
Seriously?
What is vegan leather? Honestly, what is vegan leather?
Plastic.
Honestly,
plastic.
It's vinyl.
It's plastic.
It's vinyl.
What's the thing they call supercars? They don't call it vinyl or plastic. They have leather and what's Alcantara?
No, Alcantara is like a suede. It's like
it's crap.
It's a very Italian thing, though. It's a very it's crap. Only on Italian cars,
Is it plastic?
I had Alcantara back in the day on my Lancia.
You should see a doctor for that.
And it was very cool.
Right. Really? I don't like Alcantara. I like leather. I like leather because it's leather.
Alcantara. I definitely prefer leather, but I hate all these car manufacturers like vegan leather.
Trouble with me, or
sustainable leather. I'm like, have you seen the
it was sustainable on the cow.
The cattle industry, right? If you look at how many animals are being slaughtered, you look at how much leather is actually then going. You know what? Just use the leather. Yeah. That's how it was intended. How can you be more sustainable than using the leather from animals that we've eaten?
Vegan leather. That's what we want. We don't want you to kill things. We just want you to pump more oil out of the ground and pollute the whole world so that we can have plastic.
I have a question about oil. Since 1972, we had the oil embargo because oil was running out. That's number one. Number two, I think it's BS if you think it comes from dinosaurs because that's a bunch of crap. I read this thing from a scientist.
Didn't you know
that?
Dinosaur
Week's next week on the channel. But I read this thing that said there's really just, if you will, like a river under the planet. It's just abundant. So what's all this crap that oil's running? It's not running out. It's not going anywhere. It was supposed to run out 50 years ago. It's still going and apparently still pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping.
Yeah,
so what's all
drill, baby, drill.
Yes,
drill, baby, drill. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I agree with because, we invest in that stuff. Anyway, come on.
Or in Holland, it'll be Trek, baby, Trek. But that's
okay. Oh, my God. That's going to be a joke of the day. So anyway, seriously, though, so what's all this crap with the oil? So drill, pollute the planet. We're all going to die. Who cares? Like, what are we saving the planet for?
The
That's how I'm
children,
looking at it.
Stephen, the children.
Listen, those 50
children, the
kids
next
in
generation.
Vietnam, they're not mine. I don't care what those people say. Number one. Number two, we only had dinner. Number three,
Children. Well,
I don't have any. I don't care.
We don't want to leave them with with chewing gum, which doesn't dispose, or cigarette butts that that can't be broken down.
Well, they have a lot of cleaning up to do, that's for sure.
Or with Trekonomics, they will. Yeah. So, Vicky, you don't have any kids, as far as we know, or maybe you do.
Well, not today, anyway.
Well, not today. She
I
could.
would know. I
We
saw something. I saw that the Japanese have now developed a plastic that like dissolves in water and actually helps to fertilize the seabed or something. Did you guys see that?
Sure.
So,
right with the Trekonomics.
This was the
They have been able to use. I think they've been able to use like seaweed substitute instead of plastic.
Yes.
So that maybe is based on
vegan
that.
vegan
plastic.
Vegan stuff. Well, here's my question to Vicky, because Vicky is a female. Just in case people didn't know that are watching or listening, she's female. You are female, right, Vicky? Okay, just you were born female. You didn't change. Okay, so according to Trump. So my question is, if you don't have children, but you may or may not one day, what's your take on it? Like, drill baby drill, keep using combustible engines, save the planet, or just live your life and when you die, you die?
My opinion is that we should not ruin the planet, not because of like a legacy or anything. I just want to enjoy it while I'm here.
Right, but just say it's going to be fine until you die.
Well, you have to keep moving until if you end up living in a shithole, you go and live somewhere else.
I do live in a shithole. Well, no, I mean Texas is fine, whatever. But I mean, I love the animals, and I think the planet is a beautiful place. And if the aliens want to come and live here, it should be nice for them too, regardless of.
They love animals too. They were probing them in the 1970s.
Yeah.
All about them.
They probe the animals anally, and the cow goes moo.
Yeah.
There's your Trekonomics.
I understand what you say half the time, but anyway, that's my answer.
Which one of us, David or me? David, both of
Hey,
he's like coffee. I
thought I'd get some alien stuff into the show, but
why not? Why not?
I know. Remember when we used to talk about aliens every week?
We talk about aliens. We talk about aliens probing all the Texas cows. But
yeah, we've got an alien at the beginning of the intro on this show anyway, who's apparently riding in the car that I no longer own now. So we really need to think about renaming the show.
I know we need to update this a little bit.
You guys can work on that. Hey, by the way,
the car is gone.
Just
to complete on that thought about oil versus sustainability, whatever. Look, at the end of the day, when we use the phrase saving the planet, we're not saving the planet, because the planet's fine. The planet was here before us. The planet's going to be here after us. The planet doesn't give a damn. What we're trying to save is the environment that we can live in. That's the problem. And we've already seen that is changing. The temperatures going up in the Middle East. The fires are increasing in all over the world.
California.
So we know that there is an impact. Whether that's an impact of what you can argue the case, but whatever we can do to make things better, why not? I mean, I'm all for petrol cars. I'm all for that as well. But at the same time, if there is a way of using EVs effectively, then why not? Now, one of the main issues that we have is that we know that energy is given to us in abundance because we have the sun. The only trouble we've had is that we don't know how to collect that energy, harness it, and store it. We've not been able to
charge people for it.
And charge people for it, but again, in the realm of Trekonomics, we wouldn't charge people for it. We just give it away because it's an age of abundance, right? So the hope is that if we can allow technology to understand how to better get that energy and store it and then use it, then actually we'll end up in an era where we can still have the oil because we still need it for products and we still want to have our combustion engine cars, but there'll be a more equal division or more balanced division of different forms of energy that will help things, and if that's the case, then why not? One of the things that I remember watching an interview with one of the guys who, I can't remember his name, but one of the main guys behind AI, and he said, what are your hopes for AI? And he said, well, it can go one or two ways. It either will go really badly for us, or it'll go really well for us, and it will enter the age of abundance because AI will figure those things out. It will figure out how to capture that energy, how to store it, and how to distribute it effectively. And so the main cost that we have as a human society is energy. That's our biggest cost. Once we can figure that out, everything else can then fall into place. So if we can do that, then that's great. But I still like a V8 Mustang.
Yeah, I'm saying a supercar with a naturally aspirated V10 or V12. That's what you want to drive. I got you. I will say one thing: the show we did on UFOs, just for the people that if they're on the podcast side, not the YouTube side, but on our podcast, that is the third most downloaded podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
That is the third most out of all, and we've got over 700 podcasts out. So
quite frankly, the world is so crazy right now because
ago.
one of the things that you talked about, specifically, Stephen, in that one, was that they were preparing us for getting used to the idea of aliens. To be honest, the world is such a crazy place right now. If the aliens landed, we wouldn't blink an eye. We wouldn't be
excited.
Yeah, come on in, guys. Come on in.
Check
us out. Check us out. Well, it's a circus.
we do know one thing for sure, that all the fires in California that burnt all those wooden houses down, they were all done by Canadians because they've got all the timber. So and now of course they won't be able to build. They won't be able to build it. Yeah, they won't be able to build anything. And you've got to be punished, Californians, for your wooden houses because all that timber's coming down from Canada. And hey, you're gonna have to pay a double bubble on it.
I saw this T-shirt with Smokey the Bear that says "Only you can prevent forest fires." If you guys see this, and it's like, no, really, only you can, because they fired all of the forest firefighters.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
It really is on you now.
That's right. Well, the funny thing is, yesterday on the news they were showing, even on Bloomberg, because that's where I get most of my televised news. They were showing that in Canada now they're taking all the U.S. whiskey off the shelves. So the Canadians are going to be sober, apparently. So so Trump and his tariff stuff, and I like the one of the mayors or one of the parliament members said, we've had enough of the seesaw crap.
Ontario.
We're not going to go back. Ontario was like, we're not going to go back and forth every 30 days. What are we going to do? We're not doing. He says, no more American products. We're taking everything off the shelf. We don't care. And Canadians
power to some American cities too while they're at it.
Yeah. So the Canadians are,
and 40% of the eggs into the US as well are Canadian.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Trudeau has got what?
So no more sunny side up for you lot.
He's got what, 3 days left or something like that?
I think so. Yeah, at the end of the week.
But it was quite impressive for him to stand up there and literally just call Donald Trump dumb, because that's effectively what he did. He said that's a dumb idea.
He's on the way out anyway, Trudeau.
He's on the way out, so he's like, I don't care.
So I said, there goes my eye candy.
He'll come on the show as a guest, and he'll just
what Keir Starmer doesn't do it for you?
Zelensky could do it for you, but he'd have to stand on a crate.
Hey, I like short guys. I like
What about the French president?
Macron.
It's an easy form of contraception, though, isn't it? If it's a small guy, Vic. You know what?
Actually,
just as he's about to sort of do,
everything. We went to a far more interesting discussion. Who are the sexiest world leaders?
There you go, Vicky.
Come on, Vicky.
Other than your future husband, Missile Boy, who are the sexiest world leaders?
What about Lil Kim? Yeah, well, obviously it's Trudeau, because
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he's not. He's gone now. He's retired.
Short. He'd have to stand on a crate. He'd stand on a crate, and just as he was about to sort of do the business.
Tall. It's fine. I'm not. I mean, I'm not Rachel height, but I'm.
Well, nobody's Rachel height. Even the Munchkins from the original Wizard of Oz weren't Rachel height. They towered over her. So.
If he's on a crate, just as he's about to do the business, he'll shout out. You can kick the crate away. It's really, really good way to do it.
Okay, so we have
really entered a different realm entirely now. I think.
Yeah. So Vicky, who do you got? We have Trudeau, Zelensky, and who else?
I think the president of Mexico is pretty hot.
She's a girl.
Yeah, you can say it had to be male.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
Have you seen the Prime Minister of Finland? Because she's a hottie as well.
Is she still a prime minister?
She's still there.
Former prime minister.
And the New Zealand one, the prime minister of New Zealand. She was very pretty. Yeah.
She would give a few sheep a run for their money. I can tell you that.
Oh God! And don't forget, I think the sexiest world leader ever. Maggie Thatcher. There you go. I think for those people that have a mommy, the hair, that mom complex. I think there you go. Mommy was there.
The lady the lady is not for turning. So
Oh,
just-
I bet she's spinning. She's not turning. She's spinning in her grave.
Yeah, right now. So, all right. So we have coming up the 80th anniversary of V-Day. Good
Yeah.
luck with that, because Russia is going to be joining you. I don't think by choice. We have the Trump whatever, and then we always extend an invitation to whoever. Al Green, the Democrat from Texas. You, sir, are more than welcome to come on the show.
Al Green. He's dead.
He is, and he did. He sang with his cane. And I would love him to come on just to get his perspective, and he can come on one of the more respectable shows if you'd like, or this show, depending on what his sense of humor is like. And that would be very cool. But overall, yeah, it's a very interesting time, especially for all the shows that we do. Because usually we have to know what we're talking about. And today it's like just read the newspaper and you can pick whatever you want. And the Financial or the New York Times for the State of the Union, at fact-checking Trump against Congress, it gives like 90 things that he was like off on.
That will keep them very busy. I mean, that will be an entire.
Well, who's checking it out?
That's an entire industry in itself.
The reporters.
Is it all those 200-year-old Americans that's sitting at home working? Oh, just have a look in here and see if it's.
Well, they actually there's a reporter who actually did some digging in it, and it's true that we have people on the Social Security list that are 200 or 150. He said, but when you go dig a little more, you realize that they're not getting checks. They just happen to be on the Social Security list. They're not getting any checks.
Well, it's also coding. It's a coding thing. It's that. It's the.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's if you're 21-year-old, you just see that. Oh, 200. Oh, sir, I found one, sir. Oh, here's Mr. Master, I found it. Don't bother to look, any further than that, do they? What a bunch of Trekonomics they are, I'll tell you.
The nurse will be coming in shortly for him.
Yeah,
yes, the nurse will be there. Yeah, the nurse will be coming in shortly.
Bring the maids, Doris. Bring the maids.
Now let me call.
And I'll have a cane, but it won't. It's not a bamboo one. This one.
We don't want to know how they're actually applied. So maybe we should.
Enema. It's an enema. So we're gonna have to go soon because we don't want to know. So that's that Turkonomics you guys keep talking about. Trekonomics you guys keep talking about. Trickle down. So. Yeah.
Oh, dear,
gentlemen, ladies, it is always a pleasure. Vicky, it's always good to see you. We'll see you on Monday on Adam on the Eve. Sherrod, always my friend Brown Car Guy, is a pleasure. And once again, good luck and congratulations on writing your book. Writing the book.
Yeah. Everybody go buy Amazon.
Everybody on Amazon. David, it's always something. And don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you like the show, tell your friends, subscribe and like. Brown Car Guy, Sermon on the German. We may have a new name, maybe not. We'll be back next month, and we will talk about God knows what with God knows who. And we have a whole bunch of other shows on the channel. Check it out.
If there is a next month.
Yeah. Trump doesn't have World War III.
Because right now, who knows?
That's very true.
Well, Sherrod, stay on until after the credits anyways. We never.
Yes, because David wants to show you how he gets his enema. And don't forget to subscribe and like everybody. Have a great rest of your week and a great month, and we'll see you all next month here. Bye, guys. Cheers.